All right. Thanks, everyone. Again, this is our first ever National Security Innovation Network Propel Accelerator in Boston. We've been doing this for several years, but this is going to be our very first Boston program. We've run other programs in New York and Hawaii, so we are very excited to bring this to Boston, which has such a strong ecosystem of venture capital, DoD and SOCOM partners, academia, and a lot more. Next slide. So I want to first talk a little bit about some of the partners that are involved in the accelerator. And I'm going to start with NSIN. So NSIN stands for the National Security Innovation Network. It is a program office under the Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. So it is a DoD program office, and they are the primary funder of the program. They have a mission to build networks of innovators from across the country. As you see pictured here, they have 9 regions from across the country with various points of contacts and leads in each region. Their current model for problem solving is to find the top innovators across the country, technologists, founders, and teams, and help them bring technologies to the warfighter. It's not often the easiest to navigate doing business with the Department of Defense. And so NSIN's mission really is to serve as a partner to help build the network and programming that helps innovators bring their tech. Additionally, they bring intellectual diversity from non-traditional contractors, which small business owners like yourselves, to partner alongside venture capitalists like Decisive and DoD partners that will be participating in the program. But if you want to learn more about everything that NSIN offers, I encourage you to go to NSIN.mil, and you can view all of the different programs that they have there, whether you're a university or a startup or a DoD stakeholder. Next slide. All right, so a little bit about the NSIN Propel Accelerator. It is not your average accelerator. It is really focused on government only. So our goal is to help startups access a great network of DoD stakeholders. In this case, our primary mission partner is going to be Special Operations Command, but we bring a lot of other mission partners to the table to participate as well. So our goal is to get teams in front of end users so that they can have really iterative and meaningful conversations about what the challenges are and how a technology might need to be adapted or developed to meet those needs. So we really help the teams explore how they're going to fit and perhaps how their technology needs to be adapted to meet the primary needs of the warfighter. We really focus on network building, so we bring a lot of investors to the table. If you're an early stage company seeking to raise investment from trusted capital providers, and this is a great program for you. If you're looking to test and evaluate your technology with DoD stakeholders, this is a great program for you. We also have a lot of industry partners ranging from defense primes and academia and other research laboratories for you to partner with and help build consensus and credibility around your technology. And then lastly, this program is also great for DoD stakeholders. If there are any DoD stakeholders dialed in, it's perfect for you to do market research, learn what is out there with respect to different technology verticals. So for the DoD stakeholders out there, this is a great program for you to get involved with as well. Next slide. So here's a little bit of numbers and how we've been successful in the past. We are measured on the success that we bring to the cohort participants. So we measure success by non-dilutive research and development funding that you're able to capture either during or after the program, private capital raised, if that is one of your goals, partnerships created, pilot and test and evaluation events. So we have different ways that we measure success. So here are some of the numbers from past. We've been very successful in helping teams leverage the program to grow their business. Next slide. So Boston, as I mentioned, Boston is just a treasure trove of great academic partners, DoD partners and research partners with top facilities, a lot of events. It really is a budding ecosystem for defense technology. So that's one of the reasons why we selected Boston as the location. NSIN Propel Boston has a few partners, which we'll go into each one individually, that are going to be involved in this program and will make this program successful. So these are just our starting partners, but we plan to bring in additional industry partners as well that you'll be able to work and team with. So I already talked about the National Security Innovation Network, which is the funding partner for this program, and a DoD program office. I'm with Decisive Point. I'm a partner there. We are a venture capital firm. We invest in early stage technologies for security, energy, and infrastructure. So we bring a capital provider lens to the program, and we also bring in a network of other capital providers that are interested in investing in the space. And then most importantly, we have our mission partners. So we have teamed up with the U.S. Special Operations Command for this program. Specifically within that command, there are a couple of organizations that are focused on science and technology development, and we'll talk about those next. There's Decisive Point. So again, I already mentioned who we are. We are the venture capital partner for this program. Next slide. So our DoD mission partners, as I said, they're the most important partners of this program. They are the ones that have come forth and shared their needs on the program for what their technology requirements are. They are going to be part of selecting who is in the cohort, and they're going to work with you throughout the program to help iterate and find out new use cases for your technology. So U.S. Special Operations Command, the Special Operations Forces Acquisition Technology and Logistics Directorate of Science and Technology. For short, that is SOF AT&L. I know that is a mouthful. They are seeking high impact and game-changing technologies to provide an keyword here, asymmetric advantage for special operation forces operating around the globe. And also within the Science and Technology Directorate at SOCOM, we have the Joint Acquisition Task Force. They are really focused on what we call the hyper-enabled operator. And we do have Lieutenant Commander Hyde on from the Joint Acquisition Task Force. I don't know if he can unmute himself anymore. Let's see.
I can try.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Great, great. So we have Lieutenant Commander Stephen Hyde. Could you just give us like a 1-minute synopsis on the mission of the Joint Acquisition Task Force, or what we call JATF, and what we mean by the hyper-enabled operator?
Absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. So yeah, you gave a pretty good 50,000 foot overview of SOF AT&L. So the Science and Technology Directorate falls under SOF AT&L, and we, the JATF, fall under S&T. And like you said, we look at hyper enabling the operator, which, I mean, that term HEO is thrown around a lot by a lot of different organizations as kind of a military corporate buzzword. But the way we define hyper enabling the operator is at the edge. So what we want to do is increase situational awareness for better, faster, better informed decision making by SOF operators at the edge. That means like individuals and small teams, not necessarily the headquarters element in the back. And we're looking at leveraging AI, ML, basically the latest technology available to do that. We are rapid prototyping and proof of concept capability. We don't own any what's called programs of record, so no long-term equipment resides with us. We are always looking at moving fast and developing things quickly in partnership with industry and academia, and then quickly turning it over to a larger program office within SOF AT&L.
Great, thank you. Very helpful insight there. And we also had Lieutenant Colonel Adam Caruso join, and he is the SOCOM liaison up in the Boston area. And Adam, are you there? Can you hear me by any chance? He might not be able to unmute himself either.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Great.
All right, great.
Hey, Adam, thanks for joining. You know, Adam, Lieutenant Colonel Caruso is going to be a central part of the program as well. He is a super connector in Boston. And if you could just share, you know, just like 30 seconds on why Boston is just such a great location for a program like this with SOCOM.
Sure, absolutely, Ryan. I appreciate that introduction. I think, you know, just having been in this position, I am SOCOM's first liaison for technology in the Boston area, and had to, in the development of the position, identify the networks and the partners that are working in the defense technology space, or the dual use technology space, with our DoD partners across the board. And you know, Ryan, as you well know, because you're up here as well and see it firsthand, you know, how much here in the Boston area or across the New England, I'll just call it the defense tech ecosystem, how much all of us come together on a frequent basis to share ideas and thoughts and interests of our respective communities. So what I mean by that is here in New England, you know, we're working very collaboratively with our technology developers at the lab level, like at Lincoln Laboratory, Draper, and MITRE as the FFRDCs in the area, and nonprofits, as well as what we like to say, we hunt as a pack, working closely with, you know, in my case as the SOCOM rep, I work really closely with my DevCom, DIU, NSIN, 75th Innovation Command, and Air Force, because there are a number of Air Force PEOs present in the region based out of Hanscom Air Force Base. You know, we work very collaboratively as a team, you know, to hunt as a pack and find technology and kind of feed off of each other, what we're seeing and what is important about that technology to our respective communities. And in my case, you know, I report back to SOCOM headquarters, you know, to offices like SOCOM S&T within the AT&L directorate. And then, you know, I was just unfortunately late to join this because, you know, in my position, I work for the SOCOM vice commander, who, you know, as the vice commander and senior SOCOM representative within the Pentagon, you know, he's been put in charge of the transform priority for SOCOM, and technology transformation is a big part of that. So, you know, so we have multiple touch points as technology liaisons back to the command, but then also, you know, I was selected for this position because I am a special forces officer and I come from the SOF operator background and community, and I'm able to, you know, reach back to other folks across the operational and the tactical force within SOF to, you know, kind of get their impressions of technology as it's being developed and find ways for those operators to help inform some of the technology as it's being developed. That was one of the charters that we were given when we were selected for these positions. So, you know, really just to kind of wrap it up, I've gone over the 30 seconds, but, you know, wrapping it up, just looking at it as a 360-degree sphere of touch points from the ecosystem here in the Boston area with all of our DoD, and I'll even add USG partners writ large, our tech developers, whether it's at the laboratories and university level or from commercial developers to, you know, the appropriate counterparts across the SOF enterprise, and working with partners like, you know, like JADF and SOCOM S&T, or the appropriate PEOs across AT&L, or the components and TSOCs even. That's kind of what I try to do with all of the engagements and interactions that I have.
Great.
with folks from the technology community. Over.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate that. And I think that just echoes my point about how robust the Boston ecosystem is, and that while we will have SOF AT&L, Science and Technology, and JADF at the focal point of this program, we are also going to work with the cohort to bring in as many DoD and government stakeholders as possible to make you successful. Next slide, Jacqueline. Great. So here's the timeline. Applications are due August 1st. We'll kick off the program in August. We do plan to have an in-person event that will most likely take place right after, probably after Labor Day, but we will kick off sooner virtually, and we'll also have an in-person event towards the end for demo day. Occasionally, there's other in-person events that pop up that are optional in between. Depending on your technology, there might be a test and evaluation event that we try to get you out to, but that'll be on a case-by-case basis. It is a hybrid program, so it will be virtual weekly with some in-person events. So here's the timeline. Get your applications in by August 1st. Next slide. Okay, so a little bit of the benefits. I will say that NSIN Propel is extremely founder friendly. It's for companies of all stages, whether you're a team of 2 or you have, you're a Series A or Series B company. So that means, we do require attendance for all sessions, but we don't need the founder on every session. So depending on what we're covering that day or how you want your team to learn, you can also send your CTO or your business development, or you as the CEO can attend as well. So it's very team friendly. It's virtual again, so that allows us to extend our reach. We are going to cover very specific nuances within with doing business with the Department of Defense and government. We'll cover IP, compliance. We'll talk about the mission and the sense of urgency for getting technology like yours out to the field. We do have a team of former military folks, former entrepreneurs, and former senior contracting officers that understand how to help you navigate those nuances. So we have very specific defense programming. Again, I already talked about the great network of VCs that you'll have, and we do a session on fundraising, and we do a lot of investor panels as well. We'll work to get you into tech interchange meetings with various stakeholders and out to test and evaluation opportunities, either in program or post program. And then cohort collaboration. In the past, we've had several companies work together to bring forward an even better capability as a team for the mission partners. So we do look for opportunities where there can be partnering and collaboration between the cohort or other industry partners as well. Next slide. So eligibility, you do need to be a US-based company, and you also need to be a US-owned company. So that means that you are 50% or more owned and controlled by US citizens or US businesses, and also a small business, so less than 500 employees. With that said, for the company size, we know that you're all at various different stages with respect to doing business with the government. Some of you may have never even thought about it. You're just dipping your toe in, or some of you may have already had a few wins under your belt. And so we're going to meet you where you're at in your defense journey and provide that support. Next slide. So the technology focus areas are, they're written pretty broadly, and that is for a reason. My advice would be, if you're unsure about whether to apply, then get your application in. It is a pretty straightforward application, and we'll get into the specifics around that. But I want to cover some of the focus areas here: digital mission engineering, human machine interface, and unmanned systems and supporting technologies. And these were all built around various discussions with special operator units with the mission partners at SOF AT&L and JADF. And so these were some of the priorities that were mentioned. So on the digital mission engineering front, what's really important is an ability for collaboration here throughout all levels of an enterprise, whether you are an operator out in the field, far away in a distributed environment. How do you collaborate back with the home front? So collaboration at all levels, and also a lot of emphasis here on extended reality solutions, and also the supporting technologies behind making that all happen. So that could be image transfer, data transfer, novel AI methods for completing full images and photogrammetry. So the specifics are all detailed out on the application page for some of these focus areas, but really we want to see how does your technology facilitate collaboration across the enterprise for that focus area. The human-machine interface. Here we're trying to streamline and make more warfighters more efficient with how they're interacting with the tools around them, whether that's an unmanned system or whether it is their Android phone, also called an ATAC device, that is in front of them. So we're looking for solutions that are going to help that operator who can be really overburdened both physically and cognitively on the battlefield. How do we make their life easier and help them be able to make clear and fast decisions through their devices? So that's what we're looking for there on the interface. And then unmanned systems. Really, we need systems that are affordable, attritable, and easy to get out to the battlefield, and that's across all domains, and also the supporting technologies that make those systems more efficient. So those are the three areas we're looking at. Next slide. Across the board, I want you all to keep in mind some of the attributes that are being looked for here from Special Operations Command. And this isn't a full list, but if you know that your company checks the box for one of these, make sure you communicate it in your application. So how does your technology easily integrate perhaps with legacy or existing systems? Does it have an open architecture with interoperability, right? And if not, why not? Or what would you need and what type of funding would you need to make it open? Again, there's a lot of emphasis on AR and VR and mixed reality solutions for this program as well, and collaboration. And then again, think about how your technology is superior, whether it comes to speed, ease of use, data capture, or the swap. Next slide. So evaluation criteria. Here I'm going to cover some tips for the application process. So, please take note here. We are going to evaluate you across these areas, and they're quite broad. But I want you to know that the acceptance rate for this program, it varies, but on average, it's around 5%. And so when you're doing your application, it is a very straightforward application. It could take you as little as 4 minutes to do, or it could take you as much as a couple days to do. A new update is that you can save your progress on the application. But overall, when you're answering the questions, it's a series of fill-in-the-blank questions and also an upload at the end. It's going to be really important to clearly state how you are differentiated from other competitors, or if this is a brand new transformative capability that has never been seen or done before. And you really should assume that your competitors are applying too. So articulate how you are differentiated across these areas. Also, don't be shy about your team. Sometimes when you're in earlier stage technology, the team capability and the vision there really makes the difference. And then commercialization. You really need to show some evidence of commercialization. And if you are an earlier stage company that doesn't have revenue yet or pilot projects, then we really need to see your clear go-to-market plan. So think through that, really important there. And I'll be happy to take questions on the application front at the end. All right. So now I would like to highlight one of our NSIN Propel alumni, Arpad Kovesti. Did I say your last name right, Arpad?
Yep, Kovesti, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So Arpad just finished our program out in Hawaii, which was working with the U.S. Pacific Fleet, with the state of Hawaii, with the University of Hawaii, and also many other DoD mission units within the Pacific Command area of responsibility. So Arpad, thank you for joining, and we would love to just hear an overall take about your experience during NSIN Propel. Tell us some of the things you learned and how you think it helped your company.
Yeah, and then thank you for having me, Ryan. So yeah, my name is Arpad Kovesti. I'm one of the co-founders of Beamlink. We're a company that is bringing basically cellular service to anywhere in the world through small portable cell towers in a box. So you can see one on the screen right there. And so we're a very small stage, early stage company. We're doing one NSF SBIR grant before applying, but have never worked with the DoD before joining the NSIN Propel program. And it was a really great opportunity to not only get to know how the DoD works, different departments, all the acronyms, man, there are a lot of acronyms, but also, get one-on-one advice on, what to submit, what to do in our company to give us the best competitive edge. Pretty much right at the beginning when the program started, we immediately got invited to go to this conference called the Post in Honolulu. And we got to meet with a lot of DoD end users, different companies and competitors, just to see what the lay of the land was. And there were some really great networking opportunities where we got to demonstrate our device to people and just get people really excited. So it was a great opportunity just to dive right in. And yeah, I think Ryan went over a lot of the benefits, but we specifically, since we're fundraising, we got a lot of warm introductions to investors, and also just got to learn a lot more about what the DoD priorities are. So direct access to higher ups in the DoD, and asking them what their priorities are, where do they think funding is going soon, as well as just talking to end users, which allowed us to do a bit of customer discovery. So for example, one of the projects that we're trying to start up right now is to improve connectivity on Air Force bases. And so we directly got connected with an Air Force Spark Cell through the program. And then now we're kind of getting into that customer discovery phase that will hopefully lead to an MOU and then future contracts from there. But yeah.
Great. Thanks, Arpad. And what did you think about the time commitment as a busy founder that's also trying to, run your commercial company?
Not bad at all. I think, like you mentioned, there were the weekly sessions, which were pretty short but very informative. So, a lot of the topics that I liked at the weekly sessions were like compliance, cybersecurity, how to, put in a search through sam.gov, which is actually kind of difficult. And so those were super helpful. But there are also recordings in case, we couldn't make it. But I think, overall, there were like 2 in-person events that we got to do in Honolulu that kind of felt like a vacation. It was great. So didn't really feel like working.
Yeah, it was Arpad's first and second trip to Hawaii. So that was another bonus out of the program for you, Arpad. And Arpad, out of the cohort, I think you were one of the few that actually was pretty brand new to the defense space. Can you talk about how you were able to work with some of the companies in the cohort that actually had already had quite a bit of traction in the defense space, and how that worked out for you?
Yeah, that's a great point. So there are several other companies that were doing things adjacent to us, and already had, great traction and contracts in place with, different DoD departments. So, a great example is Fourth State Communications, who are working on very long range RF links. So think like, like a super long radio link from like island to island. And so they already have, like pilot tests in the work with the DoD. And, they want to include us in, all their future testing as, providing like a local cellular network at each of their endpoints. So that's just like one example of like one of the companies that, saw what we were doing. We, got to know them really well on a personal level, and also do, a lot of technical interchange, and decided, this could be a really cool partnership.
Great. Thank you, Arpad. And I want to emphasize that even after the program ends, we still build an alumni community around the NSIN Propel cohort. So out of all the companies that have gone through, we're always an open door to keep supporting. And we actually are going to be helping our cohort all submit to, the Navy, upcoming Navy SBIR, right? So even after the program is over, we don't just kick you out the door and say goodbye, because as we all know, doing business with the government and transitioning technology to the government is not just a 3-month journey. It does sometimes take a little bit longer and can be an extended sales cycle compared to the commercial market. So we do continue to provide that support and network for our alumni. And Arpad, we're very happy to have you in the alumni community now, and thank you for joining. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. So now we can kick to the next slides, and if you have questions, you can reach out to propel@ensign.mil and propel@decisivepoint.com. I would recommend including both of those emails. They're monitored by both the NSIN team and Decisive Point team. And then also the QR code there where you can apply, get your application in, and a little bit more granularity on the focus areas there. So now I'm going to try to address some of the questions here that we've gotten in chat. And if you have a question based on the info session, we have about 5 minutes, so I will get to as many of those as possible. But the first question, actually, Jacqueline, do you want to MC some of these questions here? I see one that's a great fit. So one would be, what stage of companies are a fit for this program? So you do need to be a fully formed company. We don't want to see teams that are just at the idea stage. We would like you to have proven out some technology. Now, the mission partners affiliated with this program are interested in technologies that are ranging all the way from what we call technology readiness level 4, all the way up through 8 and 9. So if you have something compelling and it's earlier stage, we still want to see it, because maybe we have an idea as to how that can be integrated. So from a technology development stage, bottom line, you have to have done some development. We don't want to see just ideas, and we want to, we're interested in hearing anyone from a TRL stage 4 to 8 or 9, although I would say, a little bit later stage is probably preferred, because we do want to get these technologies out to the field and evaluated quickly. Okay. Next
we have
slide.
Another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Well. So if a company, this is from JD Stanley, if a company has relevancy to one or more focus area, do we just pick one or provide multiple submissions or combine into a single submission?
You should be combined into a single submission. You should be able to select multiple focus areas on the application, and just be sure to articulate how your technology would fit into both of those areas. So select multiple. Please do not submit multiple applications, just one.
And Haley asked, if a company is working on a delivery of an active contract with the DoD, does that mean they are not eligible for the program?
Nope, you are eligible. Absolutely.
And then we have one question from George about some of the focus areas.
I see
And
that,
if
yeah.
okay, so if you want to provide any clarifying information.
Yeah, I would say we frame the focus areas quite broad because we really are interested in seeing the art of the possible from industry. So, I think, challenges for non-permissive environments, if simple open source research on SOCOM and their priorities, you're going to be able to see that, yes, non-permissive environments are often what those operators are working in. And so, for as far as clarifying, open source information I know on the JADF website, which Jacqueline, maybe you could just copy and paste that in there. And also on the SOF AT&L website, there's a lot of documentation there as to what their priorities are. There's also a BAA that JADF had recently updated, an announcement, and you can stop sharing your screen as well, Jacqueline. So if you look at that BAA on JADF's website, reading through that, there's also a lot of great context as to what types of technologies would be right for this program. So hopefully that's helpful. Great. Any other questions? Throw them in the chat. One question I get is like, what's the time commitment? So the time commitment is going to be weekly. We have a group session. I can tell you, we keep those sessions dynamic. We always have guest speakers come in, whether they are other investors, a panel of operators for you to engage with. We will cover some content that is different than probably some of the content you've seen in other programs. And that's because we bring our senior acquisition gurus to the table to really help you kind of streamline your strategy. So, it's really important that you come to those group sessions. And then we also do one-on-one support. So there will be 10 companies in the cohort. And as I mentioned earlier, teams are at different journeys in their stage, right? On both a commercial level and at the DoD level. So if you're an earlier stage and you're really focused on R&D, then you're probably going to be working with myself or Jacqueline. If you're a later stage and you really need a high touch acquisition support, so perhaps that's a company that has won multiple phase 2s and you're trying to get over some hurdles and you're working on what we call authority to operate on certain networks and facilities clearances and those things, then we'll have our more senior acquisition team supporting those further along companies on the defense front. And then commercially, like I said, we have had companies that are all the way up through Series A here participate in the program. It's just that they hadn't thought about systematically exploring the defense market as a customer. The DoD is one of the largest buyers of technology. So even if you're a large company that is less than 500 employees and you haven't thought about how you can work with the DoD, we still can add a lot of value here for this program. So hopefully that answers some of the questions about, and then time commitment, like I said, 2-hour group session. There's going to be some one-on-one support. So you're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a week. And then also the time commitment for the 2 in-person events. Okay, our patented yet uncommercialized access control solutions that are unique to HMI and extended. Yes, I would say that would be of interest. I would just be sure to include that, about your patent and your plan for commercialization for that technology. And I always tell early stage founders, communicate your 1-year vision and your 5-year vision. Press the I believe button. All right. Thanks, Jacqueline. Jacqueline's included that document from JADF, which talks a little bit about like what they mean by the hyper-enabled operator as well. and some of a little bit of context around some of the priorities for Special Operations Command. Other questions?
We have a couple in the chat.
Okay.
So one from Larry, these seem to be oriented towards digital comms ops. Is there any energy production interest, especially for long-term ops?
Energy production. Yes, I mean, energy is something, energy production, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but for the operator on the edge, all of those systems need to be powered. The swaps, need to be small and compact. The data transfer that is happening is large amounts of data. So from that perspective, if you think about how energy plays into as an enabling technology for some of those focus areas, there could be some interest in energy.
And then we have one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you partnered with another non-DoD government agency, are they viable for funding with us?
So I don't know what you mean by viable for funding, but for this program, we do bring in non-DoD government agencies to participate in the selection of the cohort and potential opportunities. But as part of the application, we're not going to be accepting government agencies into the program. We'll only be accepting startups. But if you are working with a non-DoD government agency, that's a great talking point to include in your application. And that could be something where if there is a use case within SOCOM or another DoD mission partner, that you then work with that government agency to pursue one of those opportunities.
Kim asked, does company need to be registered in sam.gov or have a cage code for application?
No, you do not. We will help you do that, but you do need to be eligible as a US company. That is the most important. All right. Well, we are at time for the info session. Please get your applications in. If you could put the NSIN.mil site up, Jacqueline, in the chat, that would be great. Okay. Oh yeah. Discussion of investment size. So this accelerator does not take equity. So you will not receive an equity investment. And that is because this program is fully funded by the DoD. Investment sizes, we bring in investors of all stages. So if you're raising your first investment or you're raising a Series A or Series B, we'll have investors involved in the program that are interested in those sizes. All right, so that is a wrap for our session today. Jacqueline's posted the link to the application. They are due August 1st by midnight, not a minute later. If you have questions, you can reach out to propel@nsin.mil, propel@decisivepoint.com. And we will do our best to address those questions, but please be patient there. And thank you all for joining. That concludes our session today. Thank you.